Hey YouTube, nice to meet you. This is the first time really that I've ever been publishing content online. My name is Corey. Really excited to give this a try. I'm locked inside. It's what is it, June? I don't even know what month it is anymore. It's the middle of the coronavirus pandemic here in the US, and I live in a studio apartment. It's a pretty nice, cool space, but it's very small. I've had a lot of time to reflect and think about, what do I do after this virus is over? Because there's going to be a world after the COVID. And I think what I've settled upon is I'm thinking about getting a van. So my thought for the van is that I want, California, I live in San Francisco. It's a very beautiful city, and I just want a vehicle for the weekends where I can take it to the beach, I can take it to the woods, and I could even take it, there's a beautiful park here, Golden Gate Park, where I could take the van and just kind of hang out and do a tarot card reading or read a book or some other stuff like that. But I really like the idea of having a secondary space that's mobile and a place where friends and people can gather and check out new places. So today is the first day of my van life adventure. I just want to reiterate what my goals are. So at this point, I'm not looking for a full-time van to live in. I have the studio apartment. I don't plan on getting rid of it. I'm just looking for something that can take me on adventures with other people. I've been doing some research online. There's a few different options. My first thought was that I was gonna go, I'm a graphic designer for work, so I was looking at a lot of vintage vans, the VW Vanagon, vans like that have a very cool aesthetic quality to them. But I think what I've settled upon is at the end of the day, it's really important that the van runs and that you can get to the place you want to go. So this is my first foray into actually trying these vans out. So very shortly, I'm going to go test drive a Ford Transit, and I was just going to go to the Ford dealership, but I actually have a Zipcar membership, and I saw they have a Ford Transit available for rent. So I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to bring my handy dandy tape measure, get some measurements, start to get a feel for the space, and also drive it around, because I've only driven cars. I don't know what it's even like to drive a van. So before I make this commitment into purchasing a vehicle, I want to spend some time with it and see, does this feel right? Is this a space and a nice frame that I can see myself building out? So I'm off right now. I'm going to go get the Zipcar, rent this Ford Transit, take some measurements, take some video, and I'll be back with my thoughts. See you there. All right, so walking over to pick up this Zipcar Ford Transit. Really excited to see what it's like, give it a quick drive. It's just like a 10-minute walk over here down to Mission Street. VW Westfalia here. Let's compare this aesthetic. We're about to go see a very modern Ford Transit. On this walk, we have a Mercedes Sprinter van. This is one with a high roof. Hey, so I'm back. I have located the Zipcar. I'm here in this Ford Transit, and it's not a high top Transit, it's a lower top one, and it's got this kind of cage situation here. But trying out the seats, seeing how it feels really a lot like a car up here. It feels just like I've driven a minivan. It feels a lot like that. The windows are huge, and I can already tell it's a really great view. It doesn't feel like I'm in a giant like semi truck. And just a little bit about the drive. I drove up here my first time driving a van of the size, and I would say the most difficult part is the mirrors. It's hard to have visibility, and there's no backup camera on this vehicle, so you kind of are just guessing what's back there. It does make a loud beeping sound. But other than the mirrors and the reversing and just the length, it's surprisingly easy to drive. You can tell that it's heavier than a regular car, but I think after, a few days on the road, I'd really start to get accustomed to it. And inside, this looks just like the front of a truck or a minivan, really. It's pretty standard dash. AC was working great. Very simple, no frills entertainment system. I got to try the sound out, but it does its job, and it seems reliable and pretty easy to use. So let's pop into the back. And so I'm going to do a quick test and just see what it's like laying down in this thing. Okay. So I'm like 6'2", and as you can see, I couldn't sleep a whole night like this with my head all like this. I mean, if you're like 5'5", it might work, but definitely in a van of this size, you're not going to be sleeping horizontally. You're going to have to sleep the vertical length. So height-wise, this van also just won't work for me, right? Like, you can see, not even close to being able to stand, but this is the shortest edition. And the tallest one, you can actually stand inside. So from door to side, talking about 68 inches, so just a little bit under 6 feet. And then lengthwise, going from the back doors all the way up to the cab area. Now we're talking 116 inches, so about 9.5 feet. So we're talking about six feet horizontally by 9.5 feet lengthwise. So not a ton of space to work with, but you could also get the extended version of this vehicle and work from that. So one thing that's really important to me in a van is that it's a good place to hang out in, and I can just sort of imagine sitting around, having a nice blanket, having some tea, playing some cards. And I kind of like the low ceiling for that. When the ceiling's lower, it feels a little more intimate, and it feels more like a hangout space. I feel like when the ceiling starts to get higher and you can stand inside of it, it starts to feel more like a home. So a big thing I'm trying to figure out is, am I looking for a van that is a home, or a van that is more of a place to chill? And I think I'm leaning towards the home, just because I think you could start off with a van that's just kind of a chill place, but the more you chill in it, the more you're like, well, this is pretty awesome. Maybe I just want to spend all my time in here. And at that point, it would be too late to retrofit it and add a bed, add more amenities like a stove. So I think that's why I'm leaning towards just going all out and building a van that I can at least sleep in, cook some food in, and ideally have a little bit of space to hang out in if it's a rainy day. So I just filled up the van with gas here. Had kind of a hard time finding out where the pump was. It was $35 for half a tank, so it seems like about $70 to fill this tank in California. But I think for a truck of this size, a van of this size, pretty good gas efficiency. So overall, not bad. Well, I guess the reggae is over, and now we're gonna end this adventure with some classical overture sonata music on the radio. I haven't even listened to the radio for years, but so what did I think of this Ford Transit? I just took it for a spin on the highway. I filled up the gas. I took it up to Bernal Heights Hill, and I kind of laid down in it for a while and was just kind of feeling it blow in the wind. It was a windy day, so just kind of getting a feel for like what, I'm gonna take my seatbelt off. It's kind of silly. but getting a feel for, you know, is this something that I could spend a lot of time in? Is this something I could live in? And is this something I want to like build out and commit money to? And I think after spending some time driving it around, I love how it drives. It's very smooth, very easy. It does take a while to get used to the mirrors, but I've been driving it for 2 hours, and I feel like in the beginning I was a little nervous pulling out of this parking lot, but now I feel pretty good. And loading up the gas, filling the gas is easy. And for this being a smaller model, there is still quite a lot of space in the back. So I think I'm excited to explore some bigger vehicles and keep thinking about what a design would look like for the interior. But yeah, this is just the first step in my van adventure, and we'll see what happens next. But it's felt like a very substantial and great step to, you know, it feels like a productive step to just get in a van and actually try it out. And I feel like, you know, I'm on the road, I'm moving, and, you know, maybe I'm moving towards actually having a van of my own. We'll see. So I'm gonna ride out into the sunset with some classical music. Thank you so much for joining me on this first van adventure. See you next time.